Welcome back to Stay Tuned. I'm Tony Angelo, and I just bought the most insane engine for my 55 Chevy Project, and this is it. This is a legitimate NASCAR engine. This is a Chevy SB 2.2. This could have ran in the Cup Series in like 1998 to 2008, and this is a racing beast from top to bottom. I'm so excited. So when you buy a 55 Chevy, when you get your hands on an iconic hot rod like a 55 Chevy, you've got to get a serious motor for it. And these things I grew up watching in movies like Two-Lane Blacktop or American Graffiti, and Finnegan's Got Blasphemy, his super nasty 8-second 55. They're just serious, nasty shoebox racers that are killer. You need a serious power plant, and I wanted to find just the right one for my car. When I was figuring out what engine to get, I loved the idea of a super nasty, high revving small block that made serious power. And honestly, to build one is expensive. Like a very nasty small block making 600, 700, 800 horsepower costs a fortune. And we don't spend any money we don't have to on this channel. So I started looking at old race motors. That's a dry sump there. Serious race motors. And I wound up looking at this SB 2.2. Now this is an engine that when it came out, 20 odd years ago or so, would have cost you $60,000, $70,000, $80,000. And I was able to get it for a fraction of that. But let's just figure out what the alternatives would have been. So believe it or not, this NASCAR engine setup was actually a smoking deal, because you could spend 25, 30 grand building a 700 horsepower small block, or you could buy one of these suckers. I paid, and it's the most money I've ever spent on an engine by far, and I'll probably wind up having to sell the Polara and maybe a couple other cars to afford it, but I paid $12,500 for this entire engine setup. And this is a full SB 2.2 with the full dry sump setup, with the Dominator carburetor, the distributor, carb to pan, as they say, ready to rock. And this thing is an animal. So 12.5 grand for an engine that's fully dry sumped and should make like 800 horsepower and was designed to run over 8,000 RPM, in my book, is a screaming deal. And this engine should do just that. But if you want to talk about it, what is an SB2 or an SB 2.2? So in the mid 90s or so, Chevrolet realized they needed some more oomph in their NASCAR motors. And they kind of went, look, we've been running this same small block, the SB1, since 1955. And
comfort and appearance. On a single four-door sedan, there are 7 million possible combinations that...
They got serious race engineers in-house at Chevrolet to put together the SB2. And what's really cool, believe it or not, is this is actually based on the old school small block package. You could theoretically put these heads and intake, everything, and make it work with an SB1 block, but the SB 2.2 block is even better. This is a composite iron block with a larger cam. It's got a 58 mil cam hole to run a 55 millimeter roller cam bearings so it can rev to the moon. As you can see, like no other small block on the planet, it has different port spacing. It's equidistant port spacing across the intake, and it's designed to flow like crazy. Old SB1s are 23-degree blocks. This is a 12-degree intake, 8-degree exhaust. It's all set up to flow and really make power at high RPM. It is basically line of sight from the carburetor through the intake, into the intake valves, and into those very tiny combustion chambers. This thing's usually around 13.5 to 14.5 to 1 compression. One of the reasons it's going to make so much power, it's got a tiny combustion chamber between like 38 and 43 cc. And these things are so rad. The entire valley is closed off, as you can see. The intake manifold is what they call dry. There's no coolant running through it. You could pull it off, spin it around, take it out, replace it in about 5 minutes. It's all very race ready. Inside here, as you can see, there's an oiling circuit inside the valve cover that cools the valve springs. Because if you don't know this, NASCAR's run 8,000 to 8,800 RPM flat out for hours and hours and hours at a time. So this thing is dialed in to just live at high RPM, which is wicked cool. So my SB2 is a little bit different. Now NASCARs really only care if they make power from about 7,800 to 8,800 RPM. That's where they live on track. But mine was reconfigured a little bit by a drag racer. And the deal is this. He put a little bit broader camshaft in it. It's got a little bit more stroke in it. It's a 406 cubic inch motor, and the NASCARs are like 358s. and he's got it back to standard firing order. There's no 4.7 cam swap in it. And it is a little bit hotter, I would say, than even a NASCAR motor, which is nuts. They usually make 750, 800 horsepower or so, and this thing should make just a little bit more, which is insane. A lot of drag racers have picked up on the fact that these motors are great value. It's a really a very race-oriented, race-focused piece from top to bottom, and it's a great way to get a reliable race motor for a decent amount of money. Just for reference, this motor in a chassis car ran mid-8s. So we know it's pretty serious. But we're gonna get it to the dyno, get it fired up, and see what kind of power this thing makes. I am so excited. I can't wait to hear the sound of this thing. I'm imagining it in my 55 already. I'm gonna put a 4-speed behind it. It has to be that way. I might even let the NASCAR vibe of the power plant sort of dictate how I build this car. I could build it as a gasser, like, obviously Finnegan's Blasphemies, iconic gasser. What the Southeast gasser guys are doing is super cool, very old school. But NASCARs came out of like moonshine runners, and it came out of cars that were ripping through the back roads, and that really speaks to me. So, we get this, I can just imagine this thing at 8,000 RPM echoing off the trees through southeastern Pennsylvania, and that makes me very happy. But first off, we're gonna get it out of here, get it down to the dyno, and see what kind of horsepower this thing can make, and I cannot wait to hear it at full song. Let's rock. So one wicked cool thing about the SB2 is that it ran in NASCAR from 1998 to 2008 or so, which is like kind of the heyday. So this, this could have been like Jeff Gordon's motor. Who knows? This thing could have been screaming down Talladega or at Daytona, and that makes me feel just lucky to even have this thing. I was so stoked to get the opportunity to buy it. It was a huge splurge, but it's a really special piece, and I'm very, very excited. Okay, so we are here to see what my NASCAR SB 2.2 can do, the 406 cubic inch race killer motor. We've got it here. We brought it down to Wilson Race Engines in New London, Pennsylvania. These guys have seen a ton of these SB22s. A lot of guys use them in drag racing, so they've got all the equipment to get it up on their dyno. They are a full service engine building shop with a proper dyno. And we're gonna put this thing on and get it fired up and put the screws to it and see what kind of power this thing makes. And I'm hoping for 800 plus horsepower at well over 8,000 RPMs. I'm so excited. That's serious. That is a proper Dominator right there. 4500 series, done up by Nickerson Performance. That's probably, I would think, 1100 CFM. That's pretty good. All right, so we've got our SB2 motor on the dyno here at Wilson Race Engines. This actually belonged to Grumpy Jenkins, this dyno itself. Bill Grumpy Jenkins, absolute Pennsylvania stick shift drag racing legend. And one thing I'm going to do, this is a full dry sump setup, and I am pre-lubing the motor by spinning the dry sump. He's going to bump it around, make sure oil's got to go everywhere. We are getting close to firing this thing up. I've never heard it run. Bought it off of Facebook, but from a reputable guy. Good?
Yeah, we're good.
Cool. I got the cam card here, but it still seems pretty wild to me. It's still 850, 848 lift, and it's 310, 330 duration at 20.
277, 292. It's a standard.
Is it?
Yeah, that's pretty close. I mean, it's on a 113, so the motor's probably going to turn 8,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whew. I don't want to say this guy's giving you a fake number here.
Ooh. Okay, good. But
he is.
okay. Great start.
I'm sorry. I mean, I mean, we'll see, but
That's okay.
They're pulling it at 250.
Yeah.
Okay, they pull it real slow like that, so it makes it think that it's making more.
Okay.
You know, most diners you pull 600.
Okay. That seems significantly slower.
I mean, dirt cars, they do pull them really low like that, but 66. See, he's in a 2971. We're 3010, and we're 65 degrees. So,
Talking about environmental temperature and pressure.
well, it just doesn't. It doesn't help it.
You're saying we have worse air or better air?
We have better air, but so the dyno is going to correct it harder
Oh, I got
when
you.
it does that. So.
I'm here with Chris Wilson. This is his shop. You guys have been in business a long time.
Yeah.
He's dynoed quite a few full-on gnarly drag motors. Quite a few drag guys do pick up the SB2s
Yes.
and then run them now, so you've run quite a few of them.
Yeah, a lot of the comp eliminator guys and a lot of dirt car guys run the SB2 stuff. You know, it's a very good cylinder head. It makes a lot of power.
Awesome. So yeah, I've got specs here if you want to hear any of them. And just so you guys know, this is a 406 cubic inch motor. Bore is 4155. It is 3750 stroke, so same as like a 383 stroker. And it's supposed to be 14.5 to 1 compression. 14.5 to 1 compression. I'm trying to act cool here. Yeah, two 180 valves, 161 exhaust valve, all titanium, and like I said, the lift is 850, 848. So on a 310, 300 duration camshaft, it should be pretty solid. I mean, we're hoping to make 800 horsepower at well over 8,000 RPM is the goal here. Well, we'll see what happens. We haven't heard it run yet. I bought it. We're going to see what it does.
I'm gonna say 742.
I will tell you the last two motors.
I also hope he revs it out to like a lot more than 8,000. They revved it to 8,000 the last time. We'll see.
Yeah. 785.
780.
Okay. I know this dyno. I'm going to say 765. Not to critique the motor. I know how not so generous this dyno is.
764.98 is probably what's gonna happen.
Skip it.
Okay. Oh, he may have backed the valves up.
Oh God. Are you serious?
It's possible. I might have, somebody might have told me that. Yeah, so we have to run them real quick. I'll help you. It's my bad there.
Yo, give me a 716. Yeah.
I think he stored it to put it away, you know.
Oh, that's not good. I was like, this thing is.
It's all right. I had about a heart attack right there. And I was like, I think he said he did back him off to store it. So we'll just run the valves real quick. We'll be fine. That's my bad. But also, you said it's skipping, and I was like, this thing's okay, right? It's gonna be fine.
It didn't sound like it was.
Didn't sound like an engine, that's for sure. You know, for our little channel, this motor purchase is this is a big splurge.
It was it?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the rockers are loose, huh? They're all off.
How about that?
Whew.
Put them back on.
Oh my God.
So our first attempt to fire it up was a complete disaster because I totally forgot that Paul, the guy that ran this motor, said he did relax the valves. He backed off of the rockers essentially, so that more or less there's no tension on the valve springs when you store an engine. You know, a pushrod V8 is super easy to just back off all the rockers, and then you're not sitting there with a valve spring open, and eventually you will wear that valve spring out, and it'll be sad when you go to fire it up 5 years later. So for the off season, he relaxed them all. I totally forgot about it, and then, you know, it didn't do anything. Shouldn't hurt anything though, because they should just be closed. That's my bad. That's my bad for sure.
God. What have I got myself into?
Yeah, there they are. Do you know one of the things that the guys used to do with these motors to cheat? Come around the side there. So NASCAR guys always looking for that little sneaky advantage. They would run hollow valve cover studs and let air, see how it's right in the line with the port? And just let it bleed air in and get a little bit more, you know, 30, that's probably good for 30 horsepower. You get a big enough hole in these things. And then you just rejet the carburetor. Yeah, it's pretty wild. Oh, he didn't even do the adjusters, he just...
I will when I get them all on.
I mean, like, yeah, he just backed the whole thing off, the mount.
Yeah. That's probably better that he...
So now that we've got the rockers tightened up, we're going to run the valves and make sure that the valve lash is perfect. Then we'll get her fired up. Well, yeah.
All right, you got any horsepower guesses?
Nobody's ever happy. Everybody always wants more. This should be pretty good.
What'd you say?
I'm looking for 800. I like to see 800.
All right, so we have 800.
That's 2 per cube.
I know, it's pretty serious.
That's reasonable. Yeah, I give you that. I mean, the only thing it's going to be shy is camshaft. So
Your buddy said 765. He said, "I know this dyno."
he does.
In the valve cover, there are oil sprayers that feed the rockers. It's wild. Race cars, serious race car stuff. It's so cool.
Cools the valve spring.
Yeah, does it?
Yeah, that's what it makes the valve spring live longer.
Longer, okay. You got to figure 5 hours at 8,800 RPM, whatever it is.
Yeah,
Makes
that's
sense.
starter staying engaged.
You saying that starter won't spin 8,000?
The hell was that? It ain't the starter.
No, something squealed.
Something in the back of the motor. It's the nuts on the back of the cam plug that they have.
Can we
You could,
back these out with a washer behind them?
yeah, we'll
Try it.
move the motor
Forward an 1/8.
forward 1/8 of an inch. There's a like a plug on there, and these little screws here.
Yeah.
See these little screws
Yeah.
right there?
Yeah.
You can see where that sheet of metal on it? It's
In the
just,
back of the cam cover, that.
yeah, just you can see it right there. It's just barely touching. If you look through here, Tony,
Yeah.
you see right here.
Yeah.
You see, it's just barely touching it. So what we'll do is we'll put an 1/8 inch washer in there. Just move
Just
it.
in here?
Just in between here.
Okay. Yeah,
Just
yeah.
space it out
Okay,
1/8 of an inch and be ready to roll.
Try again. All right.
You guys can eat pizza real
Have
quick.
that second heart attack. Sounds like pizza's here. It's lunchtime. We're almost
Yeah, it
there.
would.
We're almost there. So we are super close to getting this thing fired up properly. There's a little bit of an interference issue with the back of the cam cover. Doesn't matter because it's time for pizza. Chris is going to get that thing spaced back just enough so it spins freely. And we ordered it from a local place called Pasquale's, and it looks fantastic. As you know, stay tuned. We are a pizza team with a racing problem. Some people have asked to buy us pizzas before, so we made a buy us a pizza button. If you want, cool. If you don't, also cool. We'd super appreciate it. I'm going to dig in here. It looks astounding, actually. It looks fantastic. Yeah, it looks awesome. I'm washing my hands. Let's dig in.
Do we have that much on?
like it. There we go. Now, 3,
Yeah, we're
2.
good.
Bro, I legitimately got the chills. That sounds good.
That was almost 8,000. So
So that's short pull.
short pull 676,
Okay.
677. Short pull. So it looks like it's a little rich. I mean, you're in the 11s,
Yeah.
so it's rich. Need to bring a couple pulls, bring it around.
Yeah. Okay, so far we made 676 horsepower. Just on a little warm up, short pull. Sounds incredible. Legitimately, I got the chills. I was incredible. Sounds good, boy. Oh man, that's gonna sound pretty good running through the woods.
RPM's fun.
Running through the woods by my house. Yeah. What's that?
Something's wrong. Did you put plugs in this? I'm wondering if it sounds like it even closed the plug.
He was saying something about he indexed them in at 45 degrees.
The crazy thing was is when I would touch the motor when it was running, I'd get shocked.
60. There you go. That's fine. That's it.
Pull that plug out. Pull all the plugs out of this thing.
You want new ones?
Yeah.
Well, let's see where we're at first. Just hold on a second. Let's see where we're at here.
This plug wire came apart.
Huh?
This plug wire came apart.
Ooh. That could be your problem.
I grabbed it at the base, but.
I got stuff to redo them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mine are all firing here. The only one that looks sketchy is 7. So I said, I'm wondering.
Probably that one.
That's it.
So we had one decent run, short run, made 676, and then it started misfiring like crazy. We messed around with the distributor. Wasn't the problem. Started pulling the plugs. He said it sounded like it closed up a plug. Sure enough, number 4 is closed up here. So we're going to throw in one new plug and see what happens.
Yeah, how many, 100 engines a year?
The internet's a weird place, man.
I mean, that's like. I don't think
Other way, other way. Yeah, so she sounds healthy now. All right, let's make some horsepower. That's some good sounds. You know, ease into it or whatever. So we found a closed up plug. It's definitely running on all 8 now. Timing is dialed. The polarity of the pickup is right. Sounds awesome. That's more like it. That thing sounds good. better.
That's better. That's better than 8,000. So it's still going.
She climbed good that time.
It climbed good. 811.
811. That's what I'm talking about. 811 horsepower.
It's still fat.
Woo!
And it's still fat.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, you're
That's what I'm
11,
talking
1,
about.
2, 11, 2.
Oh, that is a little fat.
Yeah.
That's how we like it.
Let's.
Jeez.
It's got 94s in it.
93, they said.
93. Is it? It's a 1050.
I think it's an 1150.
Okay, so 93s. Let's go. We need to take and roll. Put some 90s in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to pull some jet out of it.
Okay.
Woo!
Let it ride. That's
811.
awesome.
That's pretty good.
That is pretty good.
Is that more than you thought?
No, I mean that's. I could tell when it started to accelerate. I'm like,
Yeah, she was going.
Yeah, I could tell.
8,100 RPM, 811 horsepower. This thing is bananas. I cannot wait. It sounds so good. And it makes some torque or whatever, doesn't it? Good. That feels good, man. Wow. 811 and 8 horsepower from a small block is awesome. It sounds good, sounds healthy.
With a good old carburetor.
Well, yeah.
There you go.
One big old carburetor and nothing special. Just good old push rod.
Anytime you
pack.
make forward progress is better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
this
we'll
is
take it. We'll take it. My goodness, that is wild. So it is already doing every bit of what it should be doing. You know, if this was in a cup car, it would have had a little less stroke in it probably and ran out a little higher, but we can just keep going with it. But they are 358 cubic inch, and they make around 820. So
Really?
I think around 8. Well, between 7 and 8, I think. So this thing is a killer. Turns out when Chevrolet builds a motor from like a clean, builds a nasty 10-degree cylinder head and then hands it to NASCAR,
Yeah, they-
Hendricks, they know what they're doing, and then Paul had some other dudes breathe on top of it. It's jamming, dude. Wow. When I saw 676, I was like, come on.
Yeah.
Come on with this.
All right, you know what Barb's guess was?
What?
740.
This hater over here.
Yeah.
This hater. All right, well, I guess that's the jam. Remember we talked about
That feels like a win.
by a lot. Remember this thing just reset the Stay Tuned leaderboard by a lot, by a ton, by a ton. Even at the motor, the Firebird wouldn't do this.
No.
Firebird would do 705 or something. Jesus.
It doesn't lean itself out like a normal carburetor has a power valve in it. So when it goes down at idle, it only uses X amount of fuel. It runs really lean. And when you open the throttle, it pulls against the power valve and in turn richens the main circuit up.
I cannot wait to drive a car with this motor in it. I cannot wait.
8100.
8100, yeah. Still going. It picked up in 90 RPM. It picked up 11 horsepower. This thing's gonna make 880 horsepower.
Can you rev this to 9,000?
Yeah, you should be able to rev it to 88 at least. That's where they live. I don't know.
You ready to make smoke?
Let's do it. Pretty high on that one.
I saw 8600.
Yeah.
Start to turn back.
85. It's 811. So our O2s, it didn't really move.
Still fat, yeah.
But, hold on. I wonder if with the tri-Y, it's burning it that far down in the hole.
Is it using more fuel? So you can.
Didn't
It's
really.
reading the O2 about the same, but you can
It
check the actual
didn't
fuel
use-
flow.
It used more pounds per hour right there than it did before. It liked the jet.
Torque curve change.
Yep. It likes that jet.
Okay.
Yep. I think we'll go back with that jet.
The other one?
The jet that was in it.
Okay.
Because for some reason it likes fuel.
Just likes to party. This thing likes to.
Yeah. It seems like it'll run better up high and everything with it. So.
Yeah. Okay. Love it. This thing loves gas.
Totally different.
Yeah. I'm pretty happy with that 811 number, just so we're clear. I'm not asking for like another 100 or anything.
Okay.
Well, let's just spin it up a little more and see what it does.
I don't want to. I'm seeing where it's going to roll over because I can see it when it doesn't like it.
It's gonna be full run number 3. Made 811 on both of the previous ones. We put a little jet in it, took it back out to where it was before. Or excuse me, took a little bit out for number 2. Didn't make any more as it climbed up over 8100. Put it back. Run it up.
Starting to make the turn right there.
I see it. I saw it. Okay. Peak out about the same?
806, 807. It's right there because it's got a ton of heat in the motor right now.
Yeah.
So I can cool the motor back.
Oh, I think we're good. I think we're cool. I mean, it lives at 800 horsepower.
It's 8,700, and that's kind of where it's making its turnover.
It's turning over at 8,700 RPM.
You can see it, like if you watch, like I can insert it.
Yeah.
This is the pull we just made.
Yes.
You can see it. See how it kind of tracks?
Yeah.
And then you can see right there. See where it starts to just
Yeah.
start to do that? Anytime you see yellow or purple, it's going the other direction. So that's where I just stopped.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
If it had a bigger header on it, I'm saying we could probably make 825, 830.
That's what I'm talking about.
Those are pretty
Those
small.
are pretty small. The header. It's what they had laying around, but
that's made for 358.
58.
Well, those are actually 306 to 358. Like
Yeah.
we run those on some comp stuff, so.
it's a little bit small for what we're doing. We could probably pick up.
And then your correction factor, because we're a 30 barometer,
Yeah.
so the dyno isn't correcting it
It's where
Too much.
too much, so you're not getting the fudge number.
Oh, I believe it.
That's a true number.
Awesome.
So,
Yeah, it's making
way more.
well over 700 horsepower from 67 to 87.
How much you think it weighs, Tim?
The car, I don't know. I don't know. What do you think of? What is the 55 going to weigh?
Wait, 34.
It's going to weigh 35,
With me in it?
36.
Okay.
No, it's 36 with me in it, so.
Okay. Same. Similar.
Yeah.
I'm trying to say.
I don't know.
940.
940. That would be pretty great.
Yeah, that's what the slide ruler converts to on this dyno. So,
That is killer.
so you got 3600
Yeah.
at 800. It's 940.
So
It's going to want a loose converter. Oh, these stick shift.
Gonna have a
So.
clutch in it. Don't worry about
Oh,
that.
yeah, he's got a man stick in it.
Don't worry about that. I'll do that. I'll handle that part.
So what do you want to do, Tony?
I want to take it off, man. I'm taking it home in one piece, and I super appreciate it. I want to put it in the car. I want to drive it around. That's what I want to do. I want to play this video on my phone about 300 times. That's what I'm going to do.
I seen you get a little nervous when I started getting up there.
Woo! Yeah, here we go. I was like, oh boy.
We don't get nervous on the comp ones. We'll start to pull at 8,000.
Yeah.
We
It
start
sounds
them
great.
at 8. And we run them to 11.
11. Yeah. No, I'm thrilled. This is 811 horsepower, true, real, kick-ass,
I mean, for what it is,
small block horsepower. Yeah, it's pretty
for what
wild.
it is, I mean, you can drive these things forever. That's pretty
Can't
killer.
wait. I love it. I love it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, man.
You're
I
welcome,
super
man.
appreciate it. That was super
Congratulations,
cool.
guys.
Very
Thank you.
cool.
It was a pleasure.
All right, that is it for this episode of Stay Tuned. My SB22 NASCAR motor lived up to the expectations after giving us a couple of scares, but it is an absolute animal. It sounds outrageous. It sounds just like Jeff Gordon ripping around the back straight at Talladega. It's Unreal. I'm so excited. I think it's going to pick up a few more horsepower, but right now it's making 811 horsepower at 8,100 RPM, 8,100 RPM. It is killer. I'm so excited. We're going to get this thing in my 55, and I'm going to be smashing gears through town, having an absolute blast. I'm talking drag and drive stuff. We're going to make it handle halfway decent. I'm going to rip it around town. It's going to be the best little moonshine runner of all time. All right, we'll see you guys next time. Please like and subscribe. And like, oh yeah, and stay tuned. Stay tuned. That's our thing. Stay tuned.